Okay. Just letting the music finish out. So, welcome to episode 27 of the podcast. I'm Otto. Spoon. Hello, Spoon.
Now I was muted. My
Yeah, now
fault.
you're
I'm
muted.
here.
Yeah, what the heck? And my Discord's being weird again. The video's like jittery on my Discord, but everywhere else it's fine. So, I'm glad they updated their logo and didn't fix the jitteriness thing that I'm having. That was the important thing that they need to update. So, actually, it would be a fun exercise to guess how much it costs Discord to change their logo to a slightly different color and a slightly different logo. Very slightly different. I bet it cost them a crap load. Um, so we've got some news. We had some announcements that happened today and yesterday in particular related to Pokemon and Sonic. So you probably didn't know this, Spoon, but this year is the 30th anniversary of Sonic as a franchise,
hmm
which for what at a point in time there was like a window of like, gosh, I don't know how long, it felt like 10 years where Sonic was garbage, like pure garbage, like everything was garbage. Like I mean, like some of the games I'm sure people liked, like the Black Knight Sonic game and Airwolf one, but that was, I'm just being honest, it's pure garbage, pure garbage. And then, recently they've had they had the movie come out, and that was actually a fairly enjoyable thing. And I mean, they've had a couple games here and there recently that have come out, been decent to like pretty good. So I'm very curious to see what they do with this 30th anniversary, and we'll see tomorrow at 9 a.m. what they come out with. But as somebody who played the original Sonic games on a Sega Genesis, I love playing those games. Games were really fun, and they were also pretty challenging for me. So I'm excited to see what they have to offer us for tomorrow morning. Okay, let me swap over to our other screen here so we can go through some stuff for the YouTube channel as well as all of our game news. Unless you have anything else you'd like to talk about,
Nope.
switch over now. Okay, so probably doesn't look great. Let me just adjust that. I don't know why it does. We're just gonna zoom in a lot. All right. So here's our YouTube. I'm highlighting this again as a part of our introductory, shout out session here. The the YouTube channel has had more work put into it. Not only did I add in more playlists, and I'm also adding in videos for Mass Effect 1. I'm currently doing a Renegade run, and I streamed it earlier for about an hour. I just did the Liara mission, and I've been uploading my Renegade missions to YouTube. And those videos I've been editing quite a bit more now because I'm essentially plucking out very specific things from the gameplay. For example, I had to cut up the Liara mission, and I'm going to be cutting up all the character interactions when you're on the Normandy ship. So not only that is happening, but also we put our Scarlet Nexus demo playthroughs on the channel. So if you're interested in the game, which we'll talk about later, and the demo experience, which only Xbox players could participate in, those are on the channel. I told Spoon earlier I've been very happy with the early reception those received. So if you haven't already jumped in there and taken a look, please go ahead and do so. And then we have all of our podcast episodes hanging out right up at the very top. So be sure to like the videos that we're putting up here. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. And yeah, I mean, just please just show some support. This is, for me, at least me personally, I put most of my energy into the YouTube channel. The Twitter, we have a Twitter. Feel free to follow that and check out all of those posts as we update our podcast episodes, things like that. But there's a lot going into this YouTube channel, and at least for me personally, I sure would appreciate the love, because it's editing these videos, getting them all set up and everything to upload. It's not like a 5-minute task. So just wanted to talk a bit about that. And maybe at some point also I'll like talk more in detail about what I actually do for the editing. I'm not like a master at the editing process, but I can kind of go through it at some point just to talk about it, just so people get a better understanding of like what actually goes into it. Because at this point I do use editing software, and I have like a very specific process on how I edit and put together these videos. It might be interesting to talk about at some point, whether it's today or another day. Yeah, Spoon, any additional thoughts related to the YouTube channel? Otherwise, we can jump into the news, or we can actually, before the news, talk about the anime night and a couple other things within the within our podcast community.
Yep. You want me to? Okay, sure. I'll start with the anime night. We didn't watch last weekend since I was pretty busy. But I think the plan for this weekend is we'll just watch two. We'll watch 2 episodes of The World Ends with You on Sunday. We'll watch last week's episode, and we will watch this week's episode. And then we'll be caught up. So that is the plan. We'll probably do around the same time as usual on Sunday, like 1 p.m. Pacific, something like that. So yeah, I mean, I think that's all I have to say about that.
Okay. Some additional notes that I'll go through. I'll try and go through them fast so we can get to this, because there's quite a bit actually. Any of the folks that were in the original Minecraft server, I'll just shout out one more time. Kuru and I have put together a new realm. I guess maybe world. World is a better word. World for the Minecraft realms. And it's a treetop, like foresty environment. It was a pre-generated environment that somebody put together. And Kuru and I have been playing on it. We played it a couple times. I played on it with him really briefly yesterday. But if anybody who was involved with our previous Minecraft world or wants to hop into it, we do actually, I think, have some spots available. All the previous folks being in there, for example, Kuru, myself, Tyler, you were in there. This and another Filato person, Mark, were in there. So I think we have a couple more spots if anybody's interested. We don't really have like any like specific rules or anything, but just don't be a jerk is our main one. We just like to have fun on it. Let's see here. D&D, so Dungeons and Dragons for the podcast group is happening on Friday. Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. We'll be streaming it, and the session will begin with the party at the hut of, well, this is a bit of a spoiler, and Spoon's in the campaign, so I feel like Spoon knew already, so I'm going to comfortably say it. The Green Hag. They are in the lair of a Green Hag, and they are about to encounter her lair. So we will start from there. Spoon's character has been taken as a prisoner, and the rest of the party is nearby. Yeah, you'll just have to stop by and see how that goes. As for an update on the previous session, so those sessions are not putting on YouTube. And the reason why I'm not putting those on YouTube, and now that I'm looking at this, I don't think we highlighted it. Those are actually really big, like those would be really big files to deal with. And I think my preference in particular is to actually have those be on Twitch only. So, for example, the first session of our D&D campaign, I'm highlighting it right now, and that will be in our VOD section if you're interested in watching or if you miss some parts. But that won't go up on YouTube. It's just too big of a VOD. I personally do not want to go through the process of downloading and uploading it. Spoon, if you would like to do that, you have all the power in the universe to do that. But
Can't you just like transfer the Twitch VOD to YouTube? Isn't that a thing you can do?
You can, but if the video is really long and the file's really big, like
just takes forever.
It can take forever. And for me personally, I think I just like it would be easier to leave it up on Twitch. So if
Okay.
if our minds are changed, I will talk to Spoon about it afterwards. But if our minds are changed, we will let you all know. But the other thing is like, okay, it's a 4-hour video, the 4-hour session. So the other question that begs is, do we like timestamp it effectively? How do we do that? So there's just letting everybody know who was interested in the D&D session. If you wanted to watch the VOD, it's currently only up on Twitch right now, the highlight. So I apologize. Personally, I personally don't feel compelled to want to put that on YouTube compared to all the other things I'm currently putting, which even before this podcast episode, I was cutting up Mass Effect. So a Spoon, if we can talk about it, but that's my personal stance. But if we talk about it and we change our mind, I'm
Yeah, well,
more than
yeah,
welcome.
we can see if it's a reasonable task. If it's not, then yeah, I don't mind
Yeah.
just leaving it on Twitch. That's fine.
Okay. Yeah, we'll talk about it afterwards, and we'll decide and let everybody know after the fact. But there is some merit to wanting to put it on YouTube. YouTube has a little bit better features for VODs. Understandable thought. Okay. Oh, and for movie night. So, final update for movie night. I've got 2 days in mind. I will communicate with the group regarding those 2 days. Sunday evening and Monday. The reason why it's Sunday evening and Monday is because, generally speaking, most of my other days are busy and it's just not possible. For example, tonight, I have class, and Thursday nights, I also have to do TA work. And I generally want to leave Friday because of D&D and Saturday because of D&D. So Sunday night and Monday are really the reasonable days. Reason why Tuesday isn't necessarily an option is because I would actually like to keep Tuesdays open for streaming. So if anybody's interested in watching Avengers Infinity War, well, Boone was the one that really hasn't seen Endgame yet, Avengers Endgame. So we were going to watch Infinity War and then Endgame at a different time. So if anybody's interested in watching Avengers Infinity War, we will do that Sunday night or Monday. I will be posting in the movie Discord more than likely when I get a moment, either during my class break or tomorrow. So if you're interested, feel free to respond to that. Okay, that's pretty much it for my end in particular. And if you're ready, Spoon, we get to game news.
Let's go.
Let's do it. All right then. Let me jump off of our YouTube here. Okay. I posted this one. I found this. I really hope it's changed or some update has come out that it's wrong. But when I read this, I kind of did like a weird double take. I was like, what? And then I remembered it was Nintendo. And I said,
Yep.
no, this actually makes sense. It's Nintendo. So, according to a report on The Verge, and I'm sure other people have posted this. I just found this one on The Verge. For the Skyward Sword HD port, I can't even say it's a remake. I think it's just more of a port. There's an amiibo that will allow you to fast travel in the game. So, according to I've never played this game, Spoon, you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong here, but it says here in the article, fast travel in Skyward Sword is normally only accessible at in-game save points, a remnant of the more rigid Zelda design the game launched with on the Wii in 2011. When this new amiibo is placed on the Switch in the HD remake, you can automatically return to the sky to restock on items or upgrade something, and then return to wherever you were without missing a beat. Okay? The amiibo itself appears to be $25, and that's the main issue currently, is that I guess outside of the previous accessible save points and such, like, you got to pay $25 to get the newer versions of, and for fast traveling. So I'm just like a little bit confused as to why you need an amiibo for that. I'm not confused in the fact that it's gonna get Nintendo a couple extra bucks. I'm just confused as to why it's even. I don't even know why Amiibos. I think Amiibo. It's an overpriced piece, but I they exist because I want to make money. So I just I don't know. Your thoughts, Spoon?
I mean, I like. Okay, I've never been a fan of the gameplay functionality of amiibos in any of the games. I'm just like, they don't even need that. Like Nintendo, to me, they're just figures,
mm-hmm.
and people like figures of characters and stuff from games that they like. So I'm not particularly opposed to the idea of amiibos and the fact that they are figures. They're not super overpriced as far as figure goes. Usually they run in like the $15 range. So this
Okay.
one's a little more
How big
expensive.
is it? Actually, how big is an Amiibo? Maybe this will change my perspective because I think it like
Um,
being very small.
yeah, I mean they're not big, but I have a few. Here's the
Okay, yeah.
Joker. Here's the Joker amiibo, and it's like 3 or 4 inches. Like it's not huge, but
Okay, that's still
it's
pretty
not
small.
tiny.
That's
It's not
still
tiny either.
it's pretty small though. Like it that 3 to 4 inches is a pretty small figure.
Yeah,
Like
it's like this. Like okay.
yeah, it's pretty small. I think that's pretty small, but still okay. $25, sure. Okay, I could see a figure being $25 for that size. Okay, maybe it's not as overpriced, but for me personally, I have no interest in it.
Yeah, I mean,
But I
well, I
could
mean,
see.
you,
I guess I could see people like wanting figures. I mean, I've
I
got
mean, you
figures
have.
of
I was
stuff
gonna
over
say,
here,
like, yeah, you
but
have figures on your
they're
shelf.
huge. They're absolutely enormous. Like these are not like 3 inch little figures. They're quite big, and most of them, the ones that at least I've purchased, I don't try and exceed $40. So that's like my thing. Is it's $40 for something that looks to be more than 6 inches tall, 6 to 7 inches. So yeah, give or take. I do think that these amiibos are still kind of like silly in the context that like it adds a gameplay function to your game. But if you
Yeah,
just want the figure and it's a cool figure, like this figure looks pretty cool. So I'm like kind of backing
yeah.
off on that one.
Like
But if
it's
it's it
Zelda and the
yeah,
Loft Wing.
it's kind of like it's a cool little figure. So I guess they're like that's a little bit different. But am I just gonna buy like a $25 to $30 figure of like Mario? Probably not. Probably not. So I still think it's a little. In this case, it's silly that like a gameplay mechanic is behind this figure. For me, at least, it's just like okay, like you just want your $25, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I didn't read this entire article, but from what I did read, it's not entirely clear they know exactly what this is gonna do. I mean, yeah, it sounds a little bit silly and annoying that you can go back to the sky from anywhere using this as opposed to having to go to I think they're like statues or something in this
Hmm.
game that act as the save points. Um, but I mean, yeah, other than that, it's whatever. It's Nintendo. They do stuff like this sometimes. People are gonna buy it because it's Nintendo, because it's Zelda
Hmm.
and it's Amiibo, and people like Amiibos. I mean, this one is more expensive than most of the ones I've seen. Again, they usually run in like around $15, and this one is 10 more, so it's
Yeah.
25. Um, do I love the idea that they're locking a possibly time-saving gameplay feature behind this? No. Am I a fan of that? No, not really. But am I broken up about it? Am I going to be super angry about it? Not really.
Yeah.
It's whatever. It's kind of whatever. It's there. They're gonna do it, and I mean, even if I bought this darn thing, which I wouldn't, I'm not interested in this particular figure, but um, I don't think I've literally have never used the gameplay functionality of an amiibo. Again, I have like 3 or 4. I think I have Marth, I have Shulk, I have Joker.
Hmm.
I think that's it. Maybe I have one more that I'm not remembering, but I literally have never used the gameplay functionality of an amiibo. I just don't care about it. Like, to me, they're just collectors figures.
There's
Like,
collector figure. Okay, sure. Okay. Well, I again, like I've said my piece. I think statue. I mean, I have a bunch of like figures. You know, I think they're cool. Just just to have like hanging out over here on my shelf. But I just like don't find the amiibo particularly enticing. So I'm not sure what the difference is. Probably just like the amiibos don't really stand out for me by in comparison to one. So
Amiibos are nothing special as
they're
far
not,
as
yeah.
figures go.
But yeah, some of the ones that I have, they're a little bit more like a little bit more like obvious, eye catching, obvious. Amiibos being okay, you can stick it on your little shelf, and yeah, you have it as your collector's item. But for me, um, so okay, let's jump forward. Let's jump forward. As you okay, as you may recall, oh my god, this like Vice thing. There we go. The This was trending on Twitter, as you can see by this date, May 20th. So it was quite some time ago in the context of our week to week podcasts. And there had something had come out that so previously Ubisoft had come under fire because of allegations, and there's like a good amount of detail regarding a toxic workplace and sexist workplace at Ubisoft from various different folks in the company. And Ubisoft had said they were going to commit to rectifying these issues. And I had seen something on Twitter, and I'm trying to see if the article has it, but there was a source, and here we go. Um, Let me just check something real quick. Okay, so there's two different reports that I'm going to highlight here from these two paragraphs. So, in a report from Le Telegram, I'm sorry, because there's the like tones here. So an HR director who stepped down in 2020. Let's see. Employee told the report from this the Telegram that many of the HR personnel who oversaw Ubisoft's toxic workplace remain in their position, and that they don't expect anything to come out of these appointments. Appointments being opportunities to try and improve the current workplace environment at Ubisoft. And then another source said that nothing has changed at all in regard to allegations of sexual misconduct. So, yeah, people were very upset because Ubisoft had said they were going to commit to trying to fix these things, and sources are coming out saying, yeah, nothing's changing. So I wanted to highlight this because this was a really big deal when we discussed it some time ago, and I feel like we should return to it because it appears, based on sources, if we just take their word as truth, that nothing's really changed. Nothing has changed. Nothing's improved, and there's no expectation for improvement. So, I'm hoping that these sources are wrong, but if you're getting multiple reports, there's probably a trend there. If it's more than just one source, there's probably a trend happening, and it starts to become more believable the more things you hear. So, figured I would bring this up because I remember talking about this, you and I. Oh gosh,
Yeah,
I
it
don't
was
even remember.
it was
It was some
sometime
time ago.
last year. I want to say
Yeah.
it was in the fall or something. Maybe it was
Mm-hmm.
over the summer. I don't remember. It was
It
a
was
while
some time
ago.
ago. Yeah, talked about this. So, um, assuming the sources are correct in saying that nothing's changed and nothing will change based on what people are saying, what are your thoughts?
Well, it's sad to see since there was a big report about this last year, and we talked about it among many other, you know, people in the gaming community who cover news and sorts like that covered it. I'm sure. And it's just sad to see that nothing's changed. But am I entirely surprised? Unfortunately, no. Like, I'm not that surprised. It takes quite a lot for um, to change the culture of a company, and it doesn't seem like the reports were scathing, but did it affect Ubisoft in any way? Like maybe one or two people lost their jobs or got demoted. It doesn't sound like many people did, if any. Um, but yeah, I mean, this seems to be more of a systemic issue. There's a lot of people who are doing this, and you're gonna need to root out the source of the problem and the many different people who are perpetuating it if you want this to change. And the company, is going to have to be slapped with some sort of actual penalty, and it's going to have to affect them in some way if they are, if you want them to give a shit.
Right. Yeah, if you want something to actually happen, gotta you gotta force a penalty on them that actually hits the company's, so to speak. Gotta hit their bank account. Otherwise, they're not just gonna be like, okay, whatever. Just
Like, all right, we got some bad press. We'll, people will forget about it in a week or two, moving on.
yeah, that's basically what I imagine happens in those cases. They're just like, okay, we got some bad press. Let's wait a few weeks, and something else will happen. That's the thing about, like, I'm just gonna use gaming in particular as an example. This is the tough thing about this kind of market and the communities here is, you get Ubisoft doing some things like this, and their company has this poor workplace environment. But guess what? A week later, guess what they have to do to fix it? New Assassin's Creed's coming out, though, and then everybody will frickin' forget because, oh my god, there's a shiny coin over there. This is kind of like an issue, and we're all we're all sort of victims of.
Yeah, of course.
It's not just like, oh, but I'm the only one that's immune to it. It's like, if somebody in this, like, EA does something bad, right? Loot boxes, and we all know loot boxes. But all they have to do is, like, announce some big game or announce something for Apex Legends or whatnot, and it's just like, oop, all gone, all gone. New FIFA game coming out though. Oh, all gone. Remember in 2K when they had, like, the slots and all that stuff?
Yep.
Yeah, so we think that's bad, right? Like, we think that's bad in a game, but that community doesn't. And all the people that said that was bad, guess what? It doesn't matter anymore. Like, it really doesn't. They didn't really bring. I don't know if they brought those mechanics back in the most recent NBA game, but who cares? Like, the NBA 2K franchise is built the same way that FIFA is, which is you spend exorbitant amounts of money to get one particular card. And I actually have an example of somebody spending thousands of dollars to get one specific high quality card, which is just like, nobody's going to talk about that. The Ubisoft thing, we're gonna trend this hashtag. People are going to care for about 24 hours, and guess what? Nobody's going to talk about it. Nobody cares. Because that's just like, oh, Pokemon. Somebody announced something for Pokemon. Let's ignore that for now. We got to report on this. That's just how it works. It's like things just trickle down the river, and nobody really ever stops to grab it and pull it out. Because if you waste your time doing that, you're going to miss the next report coming down. You're going to miss the next thing coming down the river. So that's just like a fundamental issue. Stuff like this is just going to go because there's another shiny thing coming down the river next day. It's like, it's crazy too, because the 20th was Thursday of last week, right? But this probably trended for a few hours, and then something probably got announced the next day, and everybody forgot about it. Like, that's just how it goes. It sucks, but it's just how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, I wish it wasn't this way, but it is. And with this one, unlike what happened with Riot a couple years ago, I'm pretty sure Riot got slapped with a lawsuit on this.
They did. Oh, yeah.
Ubisoft doesn't seem like they've faced anything like that. As far as this, there was just these reports about this, poor workplace environment and sexual harassment and all these things that we hear about, and but that was it. There was nothing on top of that. There was no
Right.
punishment. There was no repercussions. It was just people were mad at Ubisoft for a bit, and then
Right.
it kind of went away. And
And
now it's back. It's still happening apparently
yeah,
because nothing happened. So
of course nothing happened because a Reddit post, as you recall, EA had like one of the worst Reddit posts in the history of Reddit, and everybody was like laughing about it. But who freaking cares? They still make tons of money. FIFA still records all the like vast of just this vast amount of profit for them. Why do they care about posts? Twitter. Oh no, Ubisoft are like, oh no, this is trending. Did it affect our bank account? No. Oh okay, well who cares? Like
yeah,
it doesn't.
if
Your Reddit
if
post doesn't actually like do that much tangibly until it affects their bank.
yeah, exactly. If their bottom line isn't effective, it doesn't affect their game sales, or their profits in general, then they're not gonna care.
But if it somehow affects like Battlefront 2, all the bad press around the loot boxes did have some effect. They did make changes because it actually affected their sales. Then they're going to do something. But like, hold Ubisoft accountable.
Yep.
It's a Twitter hashtag. It literally is me. They're probably like, okay, well, who cares? Didn't doesn't affect the sales of the next game that's coming out. So
And yeah, I mean, and if you want to hold them accountable, if you want this hashtag to be true to what it's saying, then don't buy the next Ubisoft game that you're thinking about buying. If you're on the fence about it, don't do it.
don't do it.
Just yeah, don't buy it.
It's hard to have a conscience in today's world regarding like these kinds of issues. It really is. It's really hard because, for example, Uber had some really bad sexual misconduct in their workplace happen, and sure people were up in arms in that against that. But the thing is, like, I'm sure all those people that were up in arms probably booked an Uber at some point afterward. Like, it's really hard to take a stand because a lot of the stuff that like happens, like, oh, like Uber has a terrible workplace environment. Like, there's not a lot of alternatives. Like, Lyft is an alternative to Uber, but like, what are you gonna do? Uber has all this happen. Okay, well, what are you gonna actually do? It's the same thing. Like, let's say something happens with Google that you don't like, and you're like, I'm taking a stand against Google. What are you gonna use? Bing? Like, what are you gonna do? So it's actually surprisingly difficult. Not in this case, like, okay, all you'd really have to do is just not buy the next Assassin's Creed or Far Cry or something, and then that's your mark. But like, and sometimes it's just not that easy. I wish it was that
Yeah,
easy. But sometimes it's
yeah.
just
And
not.
with the Google
Unfortunately,
example, like Google is the search engine.
yeah,
Like
it's just like
they are like they're
yeah,
just their blueprint is all over the internet. It's so hard to
it's hard to
not
avoid.
to avoid Google. YouTube is owned by Google. Like okay, you know.
Like Google has a lot, like this huge footprint. How are you gonna avoid that? So I just want to point out, like, you're right though. If you want to actually hold them accountable, posting a tweet isn't holding them accountable. Holding them accountable is very simple. Just you're an Assassin's Creed fan, just don't buy the next one. Don't buy it. Very simple. It's
And
it's hard for somebody that's a huge fan.
try and convince other people not to buy it as well if you want to go a step further.
Yeah,
Like
I mean, you could just, or you could just say, look, I'm not buying the next game for these reasons when it came out. Like I just don't, I just disagree with this. It's the same thing with like, if you want to hold somebody like CD Projekt Red accountable for the Cyberpunk experience, just don't buy Cyberpunk and don't don't buy their other.
yeah, don't pre-order. Like hold them accountable by at least for in the case of Cyberpunk and CD Projekt, don't pre-order their next game. Wait until it comes out and make sure that it's actually good. And if it's actually good, then maybe you buy it.
Yeah,
Like
and just don't pre-order the next games from like in general. Like if you're holding Ubisoft accountable, just don't pre-order because the pre-orders are what they're tracking to see how the sales of the game are going to be. So like they're tracking pre-orders and things like that. Game. if more people don't pre-order the game, Ubisoft is going to take notice of that. Okay, why did people not pre-order our game this time? So
Hashtag hold Ubisoft accountable.
it's very simple. Just like don't pre-order their games and don't buy their games if you really want to hold them accountable. It's actually like, unless you're like a super ultra Assassin's Creed fan, whatever. Ignore the games. Okay. Let's move forward so that we can get through all this stuff. I think let's make the Overwatch 2 stuff short. The main thing that came from last week as well on the 20th was Overwatch 2. Initially it was a report, and then somebody confirmed it that Overwatch 2 is changing to a 5v5 game.
Well, Blizzard did a 2 or 3 hour stream last week on Thursday, I want to say, where they announced this specifically, and they showed a bunch of gameplay from multiplayer and stuff like that.
Right.
So
I think initially somebody was like rumoring it, and then then it was so. But yes, you're right. So Overwatch 2 going to a 5v5 game, like I personally don't care, but I think there were, at least based on the stuff that I had seen, there were some Overwatch folks not particularly happy about it. But it's like you're going to get a spectrum of opinions. So, like, for example, like Trounce, who still plays a lot of Overwatch, his main thing isn't the 5v5 change. It's actually like the way Blizzard patches their game and balances it. So like he was lukewarm on the change because he had other issues with the game. So like you're going to get this like wide array of opinion. And I don't know, like I didn't watch that live stream to say why they made that change. I'm sure there was there was some specific reason that they liked the change as opposed to 6v6. I think one of the concerns for people is like what that does to very specific roles, like the tank role. So
I mean, yeah, they also change it so that I'm pretty sure they said you're locked into 2 support, 2 DPS, 1 tank.
1 tank, yeah. They've been doing that for a bit, the like forced roles.
Yeah, was it? I assume it was just 2-2-2 before,
it was like 2-2-2.
Or something like
I'm pretty sure it was 2-2-2. Yeah. They had started doing that. I forgot the lot. There was like a reason that they said they did that to like force out certain comps from happening, and to try and help the experience with like multiplayer or something, like the actual. I don't know, but
I haven't followed Overwatch in forever, so I don't really know. But
I remember making that change because people used to do like some real, like, I say wonky, but there was a time where the meta was like just play like a bunch of tanks, and you'll set that up. Like there was like some really specific meta funky about that. So anyway, that's the only thing that I noticed from that is like vast opinions. There were people that were really disappointed, and they're like, "Wow, this is a really bad change." I mean, Trounce was lukewarm on it from I had heard from him when I talked to him some time ago when I was playing Minecraft or something on stream. So yeah, I didn't want to spend too much time on it personally, but because I mean, like neither of us really play the game. But it is in the context of the game, it's a big deal. You're changing the game mode fundamentally for the number of personnel that are competing. So it is a big change.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I was like, I watched a little bit of that stream that they did last week. Not that I particularly care about Overwatch or I'm gonna play Overwatch 2. I probably won't, but I was just, I mean, I didn't really have anything better to do, so I was just watching it. And I mean, I get it. They're not going to reinvent the wheel with Overwatch 2. They're not going to change the game entirely, but it looked like exactly the same as Overwatch 1 to me. I'm like, why is Overwatch 2 a thing? Like, it just doesn't even make sense to me.
Well, there's supposed to be PvE. There's supposed to be a story mode.
Yeah, I know.
Campaign would be the major change.
But I'm gonna assume, since it's Activision Blizzard, they're gonna charge $60 for Overwatch 2. where
Or
this
50.
literally looks like it could have been a $30 or $40 expansion that just added like a new game mode and the
Mhm.
PvE, the PvE stuff. But
I
it's Activision Blizzard, so they're gonna make it Overwatch 2 and charge $60 for it.
Yep, they're gonna charge, yeah, I would imagine $50 to $60, and I I do think I do feel like they will make some character changes, like certain character, like not all characters, I imagine, but like, and I'm not talking about like cosmetics. I do think that if they really wanted to make the change, like the new game feel like it should be a new game, they should make some changes to some of the characters and how they play. Not like major, but maybe like a minor, like, okay, this character had this ability in Overwatch 1. We're going to change this ability in Overwatch 2 to better
Yeah, I
reflect
mean
X. I don't
they,
know.
they've changed. I know they changed a few things. The one that I remember from the stream was they changed Zarya so that her two different shields, the one that she can apply on herself and then on a teammate,
Mm-hmm.
it's it works on a charge system now. So you get like two charges and you can store up to two charges and you can use like either shield with the two. So you could use like two of the
I see.
teammate shields or two of the self shields to like stack two shields on
Sure.
yourself at the same time,
Okay.
as opposed to them being separate cooldowns. It's like one cooldown
Yeah.
with
So
that can store two
okay.
charges.
So then this is basically what they're doing with this is all the balance changes and character changes they were going to make during the course of the year plus that they did nothing, they're doing in Overwatch 2. They're like, this is how they justify, oh, well, we didn't do anything for this long because all of it's in Overwatch 2. So buy it. Like, that's
Yay,
probably why they just
paying,
did literally nothing. And I'm sure
yay,
there's going to be new
for
maps.
balance
I'm sure there's
changes.
going to be
Yeah,
several
I
new
mean,
maps.
new maps, and there. I know there's a new mode in multiplayer. I think it's called Push or something like that. But
But okay. But I'm just like, okay, you push the payload, but push hopefully meaning something vastly different from.
it's not that different. But
Okay.
it plays slightly differently. There's like a robot that like moves along this track and like pushes this barrier down the track, basically. And when you control the robot, it runs your way and pushes. Yeah, it's kind of similar to
So
payload, but
so
apparently,
both teams can push the robot though.
yeah, it's like a
Okay,
sing.
so
It's a
it's a tug
single.
of
It's a
war.
single. Yeah, it's tug of
It's
war.
tug of
It's
war.
basically
Okay.
it's basically tug of
So
war.
that is different. That is fundamentally
It's
different.
different than payload. It's not like attack defend. It's like you're both working
Why is it
towards
called
the.
push? I mean, it's just because you're pushing the robot. But why don't they just call it tug of war?
Don't ask me, dude. I don't
Oh
design the
God, I
game.
hate it. It's annoying. It's just like somebody's like, no, we can't just call it tug of war. It's like, no, I think you can. Just call it tug of war. Why not? Who cares? So okay, let's move forward. The
Yep.
robot tug of war. Okay. I I personally don't think we should spend too much time on it, but Riot's making an MMO. So somebody at Tencent tapped Riot on the shoulder and said, "Hey, look, League makes money, but you're gonna need at least 7 more games. You're gonna
Yep.
need to make 7 more games, and you better hope to everything that one of those is just as lucrative. So
We
go
got
make
we got the
seven
card
games.
game. We got the card game, and we got the Counter Strike ripoff.
Counter
They're
Strike,
working.
Overwatch thing, fighting game that's
Yep.
happening,
They're working on a fighting game.
and an MMORPG. I
Now an
actually
MMO.
I feel like an MMORPG is a pretty like I'm sold on that for League of Legends.
Yeah, I think it's a cool idea. I
It's a
think
good idea.
there are a lot of League fans that like the lore and the characters of League of Legends,
Right.
so it would be cool to see the world like completely fleshed out in an MMO fashion that you could actually explore as opposed to just in lore, basically.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I'm with that idea. I think it's a great
yeah,
idea. It's like create
I
your
think it's a
own
good
League
idea too.
character. I think it's great. It is a good idea after thinking about it. I'd be curious how they monetize it, whether it's a just like you buy it and then you buy expansions, or it's a subscription based thing, or maybe a combination. But if
I mean,
they're hiring for, it would be interesting to know how far along they are with this idea. Like, are they just like we're at stage one, or we're actually like we're pretty far along, we're just hiring more people to keep pushing it along.
I
down the
mean,
line.
if this tweet is to be believed, and this is the job opening, build our open world design values and best practices in early stages of development. That
Oh,
it
that's
seems like
early. Okay.
they're still in, like storyboard, like concept phase, and they don't really have
Okay, so
anything
this is a
yet.
while. This is a decent.
This is probably 2 or 3 years away at
Yeah,
best. Like,
yeah, that would make a lot of sense. Because MMOs are a pretty
it's a big task.
a big task. Yeah, but it makes sense for the League of Legends lore. So I think it's cool, personally.
Yep.
Okay. Um. Also, if you happen to, I guess, fit the position, position you could. Okay. This happened last week, last Friday. Um. Obviously, people had plenty of different opinions on this, but you've definitely noticed it on Twitch. Twitch created a pools, hot tubs, and beaches category. They specifically did this because now they know exactly where not to target advertising. It
Yep.
very simple solution. So
Yep.
basically,
This
go
is
ahead.
not for us. This is for
For
advertisers. For
advertisers.
advertisers to say like, "Hey, I don't want to be advertised on this category, so take me off that."
Yep. They say we don't want to be advertising this content. So they also mentioned in the blog post. Obviously, we didn't bring that a whole thing up, but um, I think the main thing that people took out of this as well is being found to be sexy by others is not against our rules, and Twitch will not take enforcement action against women or anyone on our service for their perceived attractiveness. So they added that clarification, which again, we're here to the point where Twitch has to say these things. It's kind of interesting how we've gotten here. Um, we've talked about this topic twice now, I think, at least 2
Yeah.
times.
I mean, I think this is a good clarification. Like, streamers should not be punished for having breasts. Like, that's
No, they
just
shouldn't.
not like. Come on. Like,
You,
women should be able to stream on Twitch and obviously to a point within the terms of service be able to appear attractive and like show their cleavage at least on stream for people who want that. I mean, there's yeah. I mean, it's part of entertainment. It's part of media.
yeah. Um yeah, this is such a delicate thing to talk about because on one hand, I think I can confidently say this, but the pools, hot tubs and beaches category affects 90% women, 10% men as streamers. Just going to go ahead and throw that number out there.
I don't know the demographics, so I'm not going to comment on
If
that.
I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but it just based on like visually looking at the category when I've looked at it, because when this first came out I was like, okay, I got to see this category, like what the heck. um my guess is that it's even if it's like 75-25. The point being, the majority of the streamers in this category, I'm just guessing, are women. Okay? This is a delicate topic, and Twitch has to deal with this delicate topic in the way they see fit. And the way that they've dealt with it is, now advertisers are explicitly telling us that they do not want to advertise on this particular category or on streams that are doing this kind of content. Now we really have to take certain actions. I think they're probably going to do more than just pools, hot tubs, and beaches category. My senses, and based on what the blog post was saying, is they're going to do more. This is like a temporary solution.
Yeah.
But
Quick fix.
my only comment is this on this category. As a streamer, they are welcome to do this kind of content. It doesn't affect me in any way. It doesn't affect you, Spoon. If this is the content that you want to do, go. But I like,
There is an audience. There is an audience for it.
there's
It
an
is
audience
popular.
for it, and I just want to preface this though. Just want to add this though. We 100% know why you're doing this kind of content, and just it's a very delicate situation. But we 100% know why you're doing content that is, you're in a kiddie pool, straddling a banana in a bikini. There's a very obvious message being sent. And we also know that, not in every case, but that kind of content is being pushed into a certain website that happens to have fans in it. So I just feel like it's very delicate. There's like a couple things happening in there. That being said, the content Twitch has said is perfectly fine, and it is not against the rules. So go for it. It's not against the rules. Go stream it if it's your thing and if it's lucrative for you. That's fine. You can
More power,
do
more
it.
power to you.
You.
If it's working out, and
It's working out.
you're making a living off doing hot tub streams on Twitch,
Sure.
I'm happy for you.
Sure thing. Sure thing. But again, just like everybody knows what you're doing. So there's like that kind of floating around in the background as well. And that's part of the reason why I'm guessing plenty of advertisers are saying they don't want to advertise here. Is they're kind of seeing that. So it's such like a tough situation. It is like a decent temporary solution from Twitch. And I do think that if they say the content is not against their rules, they need to figure out if there is any kind of advertiser who would, because it's not against the rules, but like can't run ads on the channel. It's like kind of weird. It's like, okay, well, it's not against your rules, but I don't get ads. And that's for some people that's a decent chunk of their streaming revenue. So it's like, okay, but you said it's not against the rules. How come I can't get ads? They got to figure out a way if they can somehow get a few advertisers in. That's like Twitch's goal. They got to figure that out, because if they're just going to turn it off for everybody in that category, it's unfortunate. Because again, I just like, are you serious? Trojan Condom doesn't want to advertise in that category? Are you serious? Like, what do you mean? Of course they do. That would seem ridiculous to me that they wouldn't. It's just like, come on. That's like, it's hard to believe that every advertiser doesn't want to advertise there, so they switch it
Yeah,
off
I
for all
mean,
of them. Like, are you serious?
I mean, I agree. I think I'm sure there's a certain yeah. I think there's a certain subset of advertisers who would like to advertise in that category, but likely the majority of them don't.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure that is the case. So, okay.
But yeah, I think we've said our piece on this over the past couple of weeks. I don't want to belabor the point. Two white dudes talking about this is kind of, I don't know.
I think it's perfectly. I mean, like, I think in this case it doesn't make any difference. It's just not against the rules. Do whatever you want.
Yep. It's kind of how I feel.
Okay.
Let's just hope that, again, Twitch is more transparent and, does their job.
Okay. Wow.
Which
Twitch
they're not.
Being transparent is not what they do best.
Nope.
Okay, this one you provided, which was Square Enix is working on a new action-focused Final Fantasy title with Team Ninja called Final Fantasy Origin. This title is exclusive to PS5 and is coming to PC later. Alpha demo coming this summer. Yeah. So, action-focused Final Fantasy title.
Yep. This is rumored to be a sort of Souls-esque Final Fantasy game. So it'll play in some vein similar to a Souls game. We don't know how close it will be, if it'll use the way Souls do, you make progress, you die, you have these like souls that you lose. We don't know if it'll do that, or if the combat is just going to be more similar to Souls, where it's kind of heavy and weighty and very deliberate. So yeah, I mean, that's really all there is to this. If this is a rumor, so we don't know for sure, but if this rumor is true, I would say with almost 100% certainty that we will see this game at E3 in a couple of weeks. And yeah, I mean, it's an interesting idea. It would be cool if it's worked. Final Fantasy games tend to, they look good. Their production value is very high. Usually, it's Square Enix.
Yeah, definitely. Argument to be made. It's the highest of any specifically RPG franchise.
Definitely has the highest budget of any JRPG franchise.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy. And I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't think I have much more to say about this. I think it's an interesting idea. I'm not a super big Souls fan personally. I tried Bloodborne once. It was pretty cool. I enjoyed some of it, but it got a little frustrating after a while. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think it's a cool idea. I think it's an interesting idea, and we'll see if this is actually true and what it looks like and what they do with it if it is true. Um, and again, if it is true, I fully expect to see the City 3.
Yeah, I mean that would make sense, particularly if there's an alpha demo coming in. Assuming the rumor. I have no comment. Like I lukewarm on. Yeah, think that there's definitely an audience for it, and I'm curious to see how long it would take to get on PC. But I'm lukewarm on the idea of any game being exclusive to a next gen console.
Oh yeah,
I
I didn't.
I'm
I don't know that.
I'm not interested in that kind of stuff because even though I do have an Xbox Series S, it's very challenging to find a next gen console. So
Yep.
I'm not like excited about the idea of games being exclusive to a certain platform when they don't have to be.
Yeah,
So
I think it's generally at this point still a big mistake for a publisher to make a game a next gen exclusive. I think it's a big mistake.
well, Sony's gonna be doing that a lot for their very specific titles. For certain titles, they'll
No,
do.
I'm more talking about third party
Oh,
publishers
third party,
because
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
obviously Sony's gonna. I mean, they're Sony. They're gonna put games exclusive on their next gen platform. But
Yeah,
for third party publishers who don't necessarily have to do that, I mean, I'm gonna assume that um, Sony probably, if again, if this is true, that Sony paid a pretty penny for this to be a PS5 exclusive because, like, the PS4 install base is pretty huge. PS4 is a pretty popular console, so you know they would make a lot more money on the game if it was on both.
they you'd think that, but they also want to sell their PS5 that people can actually buy. So it's like such a weird thing because Sony's relying in this case on like, oh, you'll just buy the PS5 for this game. It's like, how the hell are we gonna
But
do that?
nobody can buy a
How?
PS5. That's the problem.
How? So
Nobody can buy a PS5.
this is the annoying thing. This is why it's like it's just like not currently a good practice for it. And PS5s are not going to be readily available anytime soon, too. I mean, we
Nope.
could be seeing a shortage of PS5s and possibly Xbox Series X's into a good
Next
portion of
year.
next year,
Yeah.
which is just like it's insane. So again, it's the reason why I got the Series S. It's like not because of the Series X, but next gen, it works fine. Whatever. It was available and it was affordable. So
Yep.
good enough for me. So okay. All right, let's move forward. We got a couple more things. Um. Okay, so let me preface a couple things with this one. So I am a part of a Destiny 2 group that is myself, Tricourage, Kuru, Vis, Hectic, and Ian Bits. And we did the Vault of Glass raid day one. There's a 24-hour challenge. It is a really big deal in the community. To do this challenge, people race to try and be the first ones. And being in the top X, I don't know what top X, is like. There's like a cutoff point to say, okay, these like top 10, for example, are, this was like the best of the best, or is it top 25? I personally can't say. I think it depends on the number of people the percentage of people that complete it, because there have been raids in Destiny 2. For example, a raid called Last Wish. I'm pretty sure only 2 teams completed the 24-hour challenge because the raid was so challenging. So sometimes it's like it depends. The one that we did in 24 hours, Deep Stone Crypt, I would say that was, I think statistically that was one of. Oh, okay, we just bagging there. We just there was a higher percentage of folks that beat Deep Stone Crypt in the 24-hour challenge than some other particular raids. So it just like depends. Deep Stone Crypt,
Still impressive
yeah,
nonetheless,
it's
though.
like, yeah, if you do the 24-hour challenge, you complete it. It's a good feat. You get like an emblem typically for it. I don't know what else you get besides that, but we did not complete the 24-hour challenge. Unfortunately, it was a beast that was too difficult for us as a group to overcome, so we didn't complete it. We did beat the raid though. So vault this raid, the second place team, um, they had a player whose name was I know I did not like this name at all, but I am going to mention it because it was the name that got banned. The person's name was Black Lives Don't Matter, and it was the
Yeah.
second place. It was on the second place group, and that person was banned. I don't actually know if the team was disqualified. Um,
I mean, I don't think the team should necessarily be disqualified for that, but I'm
the
glad
player,
the person
well,
was banned.
the player was banned for sure. The player was banned because that name is 100% unacceptable. So again, I wanted to preface that. Okay, like if you get that 24-hour challenge, like that's a really big deal. Like it was a really big deal. Script. Obviously, we were hopeful we could do the 20 challenge for this one, but we couldn't. So yeah, person did it. They got second place with their group, and yeah, you had a shitty ass name, so get banned. Like, I don't understand that kind of crap, but there are just some people that are. Try Courage
Yep.
put this on here and figured since this happened last weekend, it was the most recent raid since Deepstone Crypt. It's been 6 months since a raid had come out, so it's been a decent amount of time. And this is the raid that people are going to have to play for the next X number of months until some other raid comes out or an expansion comes. It's a big deal. Like, this kind of stuff is a big deal. The raid itself was pretty interesting. It was a remake of a Destiny 1, but they made some adjustments. Interesting, but good for this person getting banned for being a complete.
Yep. Good riddance. Get that crap out of here. We don't need that.
So it's Sonic's 30th anniversary. We talked about it at the beginning. There'll be a live stream tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern time. I don't know how much we'll get, detail we'll get in there. I'm guessing we're gonna get all manner of content though, not just games. I 100% am guessing there will be something regarding the another Sonic movie.
Yeah,
I
there's
mean,
been reports about them, going forward and,
hmm?
I don't know about wrapping filming, but there's been rumors of, kind of what the general storyline is going to be about, like that like Knuckles and Tails are going to be in it and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
I imagine we're gonna get something there. I I hesitate to say we'll get a trailer, but there will be some kind of teaser content.
I wouldn't be surprised if we got at least a teaser,
Yeah,
like a teaser trailer or
a
something.
teaser would not be too surprising, but like not like a big like really long.
Yeah, I don't think we'll get a full
Sure.
length trailer, but
I fully expect some kind of Sonic collection to come out on all the different consoles possible, and including PC. I fully expect them to announce a new game, like a major game, not just some like small silly thing like title. And
Sonic Adventure 3, Sonic Adventure 3, Sonic Adventure 3.
I'm just saying I fully expect them to announce something major. I also fully expect something where they made partnerships with other games or providers,
Yep.
and they'll talk about those partnerships for the next year or so of content. What I am scared of, which I doubt will happen, I'm scared that they will do the same thing Nintendo did with timed content. That was one of the worst things to have ever happened.
Yep. For Mario, that was really
That
dumb.
was a really dumb decision. So I'm scared that will happen. I don't think it will, but I'm scared it will happen. Um, so that's what I expect from that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like you said Sonic Adventure 3, but do you have any other like
I
things
mean,
you're
I'll be honest.
expected? Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I think everything you said makes sense. I mean, to be honest, I've never been a huge Sonic fan. I never owned a Sega console. I've played a little bit of the 2D Sonic games here and there. You know, when I was a kid on at friends' houses and demo stations and etc. When that was a thing. My friend had a Dreamcast, and then I did play the GameCube versions. But I have played Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. I was a big fan of Sonic Adventure 2 back in the day. That game was awesome. But in general, I'm not a huge Sonic fan. I like the game. The games are fun, but I don't know. I never gotten that into the series. It wasn't a big childhood thing for me, like Mario was.
Right.
So, but yeah, I'm hoping, as you said, at the beginning of the stream, Sonic had a stretch there of really bad games, in the, I would say, mid 2000s or so.
2000 to 2006 to 2000 like 12 was a really
I want to say like pretty much after Sonic Adventure 2, which was, I don't remember, maybe 2000 or 2001, maybe it was 99. I don't remember, in that area.
yeah.
It was
Yeah.
Sonic was not in a good place for a while after Sonic Adventure 2.
There was like one or two gems. Like Sonic Colors was a decent game, which, by the
Yeah.
way, I wouldn't be surprised if they remade some capacity, like Switch or something. Because that was a well received game considering Sonic was.
Yeah, but then they had the disaster that was Sonic 06. So
Sonic 06 is now the best speedrunning game in
yeah,
just ever. But it is
it's
terrible
a great
video game.
Yeah, it's a great speed run because the game is just so absolutely busted. But that game's a mess. It's
It is
garbage.
Absolute mess. But I hope to
Um,
see something with the movie. That's the little teaser would be nice because I
yeah,
like the first movie.
yeah. I'm sure we'll see at least a couple of game announcements. We'll see something on the movie, and yeah, probably some other stuff too. Maybe some like merch.
Yeah, yeah.
Sonic collection would make sense. All the things you said. It's cool. Again, I'm not a huge Sonic fan, so I may not be super excited for anything they announce in this. I would, again, Sonic Adventure 3 would be something that I would look at and be like, oh, okay, yeah, that would interest me, I think. But yeah, we'll see what they do. Sonic has, it's we're not in the dark ages of Sonic anymore. I feel like they're back on their feet at this point. They haven't really had a dud for a while with Sonic, though. I don't remember the last Sonic game that came out. I feel like it's been a while, but maybe it's just.
Ooh, so they did have a dud with Sonic.
Heroes was a long time ago. That was in
No,
the
not Heroes. What
the
was
crap
it?
era.
No. There's a different game that came out recently. There was one that came out where you created your own Sonic character. And it was Sonic Forces. There it is. Sonic Forces. Not a game that I think people liked. I don't think people liked that one. Sonic Forces, I don't think people liked. Let me check the Metacritic. I think that was a disappointment of a game. Let me double check this. Sonic, did I say Forces?
Forces.
Yeah, Forces got a 57 on Metacritic and a 6.6 user score.
That's pretty bad.
And that was a 2007 title?
Oh, that's okay. That's a while ago.
That's 4 years. Fairly recent.
Oh, I thought you said 17?
2017. I probably
I thought you said
7
2007. I was like, well, that's 14 years ago. That's
no.
okay.
This came out on PS4 and I'm sure some other titles. Yeah, this was a stinker. That was a stinker. It was supposed to be like you make your own Sonic character. So they've had a couple duds, but it hasn't been as horrible as Sonic 06 type crap. So yeah, I'm interested. Sonic. I played the old Sonic games again on I really liked them. They were a nice, fun experience. Very simple, but like really fast paced type games. Obviously, I really enjoyed them. I always thought Sonic was like a cool character, like kind of just this cool character. And the TV show was kind of fun when I watched it. There's like some fun stuff with Sonic. So I'm hopeful that he can continue to come back and there's like a new title that comes out. Sonic Forces.
Wasn't it?
That wasn't it. No, it wasn't it. Wasn't it, unfortunately? So, okay. Last bit of stuff before we adjourn from the news side. All right, let's start with Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl Spoon. So we got a release date of November 19th.
And box art.
And box art, which I gotta be honest with you, I don't like it. I don't like this box art.
I don't love it. I'm not liking the Dialga and Palkia gasms going on right there.
They're like, yeah, they're gasming pretty hard, and also I just don't know what it is. Like, it looks actually like a figurine. Looks like a figurine. Looks like they took a picture of a figurine and somebody went into Photoshop and added stuff to it. I don't know what to tell you. I don't think it looks very good. Just my opinion. Just my opinion. I do not like this art. Box art.
Yeah, I don't hate it, but I don't love it either. The box art.
Again, I think somebody took a picture of a figurine. Little touch-ups to add these little like effects in Photoshop. I am interested in the games though, so we'll see. Games there was, as you might recall, the a bit of a little bit of questioning of the design choice behind the games.
Yeah, the graphics.
The graphics style. And the chibi characters and that, but beyond that, they were trying to stay true to when the games released and the style of the games. I don't fault them for that if that's the justification. These are great games though. These are the games that reignited my interest. Special place.
Platinum, especially in this gen, was really, really good. Platinum is the Pokemon game that I played the most. I've had the most hours in Platinum out of any Pokemon game, I think. Well, maybe the original, like Red and Blue. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I played Platinum so much. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I'm excited for these as well. It'll be cool to go back to Sinnoh and see what they do with it, because there's one thing that about Sinnoh, and from what I remembered originally, the Gen 3 was the worst with this, but it's actually Gen 4 that's were the worst with this. Man, the HMs in Gen 4 are
I hope they just I don't know.
Which starter are we picking? I actually like all the starters in this gen, but true to myself, I always pick the fire starter. So I will take what the heck is it called? Infernape is the third evolution. What's
Infernape? There's Infernape,
Chimchar,
and Chimchar.
Monferno.
Chimchar was pretty pog. Empoleon. I'm going with Empoleon.
Yep.
Dude. Empoleon was a Piplup.
Yeah, I like all three starters in this gen. Actually, I think they're all great.
Infernape is really good. But Empoleon is the pog. Empoleon is the pog, dude. So I'm going Empoleon. But yeah, I am really excited for this. It's got 6 months away. I'm interested, and I hope the games just play as well as they did then. These were really fun titles. And Cynthia, yay, Cynthia!
Cynthia, the best champion in Pokemon history.
Cynthia
with the best champion theme in Pokemon history as well.
I hope that this is the Platinum Elite Four, if I'm being honest with you, though.
Yeah,
the Diamond and Pearl Elite Four was not particularly as exciting.
Diamond Pearl Elite Four was actually doo-doo. Cynthia was still good, but like the fire dude had like one fire Pokemon.
He had Infernape.
It was so stupid.
That was like, he had Infernape and Magmar, or like he had some like they Magmortar or something like that.
That was in Platinum. He didn't have Magmortar until Platinum.
I don't remember. He did have a.
He had like Lopunny, and he had like
he had some weird stuff. He had like the ghost flying Pokemon, Drifblim.
Yeah, the fire dude's team in Diamond Pearl was really stupid.
Yeah, I hope it's the Platinum Elite Four. I hope they just port the Platinum Elite. But yeah, whatever. Who? Yeah, I'm interested. I don't even mind the style of the game either. I don't. So should be fun. November
Yeah,
19th.
yeah, I think it's fine. Yeah, and yeah, we get our official release date here. No surprise. This is the, as we've talked about before. This is the fall Pokemon release for the year. This is what we expected. They usually release in November, so yeah, this tracks with what they pretty much always do with Pokemon
Yeah,
releases every year.
it makes
So,
sense. It makes sense. So I'm excited. Now we have to move to the other.
yep,
Pokemon Legends Arceus. Um, this needs a trailer. This needs a new trailer. It needs to be at E3, and it needs a new trailer where their FPS wasn't to the level of a Sega Genesis. I do think that this game has a good heart. The idea of it is really good, in my opinion,
yep.
with an open world Pokemon game. But the thing is, I think open world Pokemon games are terrible, and I think it's a terrible idea to do that on this. I just, unless you can really focus in on trying to do your best with the textures, I have to say it. The games that I've played on Switch with like any sort of larger environment, when they didn't focus in on those textures, looked really. So hopefully they can touch it up more and try and improve on it. But the frame rate in this game was probably the worst I've seen it.
Yeah, we got scroll up a little bit. They did give us the release date on this
Yeah,
in
go
this
ahead.
as well as the box art. It's January 28th, 2022, which
Pretty far off.
again, yeah, again, not super surprising to me, but I know we've talked about it before. You know, we're a little wary. We're a little wary of this one because the initial trailer for it, at least to us, didn't. The idea is good, and people have been asking for this for a long time. If they can pull it off, I think it'll be really good.
Yeah.
But the textures and the frame rate and the animations did not look that great
Yeah.
in that initial
The
trailer
animations were terrible.
that we got.
Yeah, the animations were
Um,
terrible.
so we're just a little wary of this title. If we see it at E3 and it looks significantly better, then I will take back everything we're saying. But
It it needs an in-engine footage trailer. I don't want any anime opening stuff. If I see an anime opening trailer, I will immediately think, "Oh, they can't. They're not fixing the. They're not fixing. It. They're just gonna wait." So it needs in-engine footage so we can actually see that frame rate improve. Because if it's anything other than that, my immediate conclusion jump will be, "Oh, they're not fixing that. They're not fixing." It. So I'm super worried.
yeah, no, I agree. I'm wary of it as well. As I said, I think it's a great idea that people have been asking for a long time. If they pull it off, it's going to be awesome. But yeah, the initial impressions from the original trailer were not very good.
No,
So
not at all.
hopefully we will see a better showing at E3 of this and see what they've done in the last 3 or 4 months since we last saw it. I don't remember. It hasn't
Yeah,
been
it was
that
the
long.
Pokemon.
It was earlier this year. I think it
Yeah,
was like February,
it's
maybe it
been
was
a
March.
it's been a few months. It's been a few months. They've still got time to fix it though. They do have time to fix it. It's a decent amount of time to fix it. So not like all hope is lost. But if E3 doesn't give any in engine, I'm immediately thinking, okay, I can't pre-order this. This is not. I gotta wait for this to come out. Wait a week. How people decide if I can. It definitely put a bad taste in the first. Like it's a great idea. It looks like playing it would just make me frustrated. So I'm gonna hope for the best. I was gonna say I actually like this cover art.
Yeah, the box art looks good.
Box art looks really nice. Okay. Any other final thoughts before we switch over to the other overlay and we discuss some other things such as Scarlet Nexus?
Nope, I think we're good on the news.
Okay, then let's talk a couple things first. Um, did you play both demos?
I
And by
did.
both demos, okay, you played both. Okay, so let's start with Scarlet Nexus then, since you played both demos, and I'm not going to talk about it too much. I think for me personally, I just want to talk about very specific things because I had already seen trailers of the gameplay, but to experience it, obviously, it's always different. I I think playing the game as a demo was great. And the problem with the demo though is you're not actually going to get the story. So when I say it's great, that is story removed from my experience because there's just like not enough here to justify saying, "Oh, story
I
was
mean, yeah,
great."
there's a little bit. There's like you get a sense a little bit for some of the characters, but
Yeah.
other than that, you really don't know what's going on.
It's not enough. Particularly for Yuito. Just not enough.
Yeah,
For Yuito, I got almost nothing from the characters. Just nothing.
yeah. No, I agree. The only character you really got anything out of was Shiden on
Eden,
Kasane's side.
who's a little annoying, but that's his character. He's
Kind
like
of
he's kind of
stuck up
he's
jerk.
kind of pompous, but when the spotlight
Yeah.
gets on him, he turtles up. So that's fine. Yeah, Kasane's demo had more with the characters, and you definitely got more with Shidan and the like you can tell she's like very outgoing, wants to be in. And Kasane doesn't. She's like, she wants to defer to somebody. She just wants to do her job. Okay, you get a piece on her too. So I like. I'll just focus on. I'm not going to separate the two demos. I thought the combat was fun. If you're somebody though that doesn't like simplistic combat controls, this might not be the game for you. The controls of this game for combat are pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it ain't Devil May Cry. You're not gonna be doing crazy combos like in Devil May Cry
Yeah,
or Bayonetta or something
you're
like
not
that.
doing you're not doing those crazy combos. There are like very specific things you're doing where besides just like okay, besides pressing the auto attack button, you may want to do a couple auto attacks into your psychokinesis power, and there are some enemies where you need to borrow a power from one of the party members, and you can borrow a party member power not just from the group that is currently on the field, but from any of your, and you get 5 total, including yourself. Um, you can swap party members in and out of your party though, and there's 2 outside of yourself that get to be in the party. The psychokinesis powers. So I did say the combat was fun. I'm sticking to that. The combat was fun. The psychokinesis powers. Hasane's group has great psychokinesis powers. They're all very like they're kind of interesting, and they all the psychokinesis powers do have like a use case. So, but I liked her groups better. I think I just liked her groups better.
Yeah, I
They
agree
had
with that.
the electricity power from Shidan. They had the time slow, and then we had like the duplicate one. I forgot what it was.
Yeah, duplication, which just
Duplication. Mm-hmm.
and then invisibility.
And and then invisibility, which again, visibility being useful for sneaking up on certain enemies that like to turtle up when somebody's around. I just liked her group's powers for combat. That was a very heavily focused combat power group. Besides the invisibility, invisibility could be used outside. So I liked hers. Yuito's group, I actually didn't like the powers as much. The I don't take damage power. It lasts like 2 seconds, not even. So you just like you got to use it immediately when you're about to get hit. Otherwise, you're just gonna waste all of it. Just gonna drain too
Well,
much.
yeah, because I mean, also like when you take damage, it drains faster.
True,
So
true,
yeah,
and it makes sense. It has to. Like it would be completely busted if it wasn't that way. But
yeah, you could just
just
turtle up forever, and you know.
just keep in mind, like the fact that it really is limited. It's understandable, but still can be frustrating. The teleportation power, there's no use in combat. I have no way to do. I don't know what to do. It just seems very like maybe there is a combat use, but it seems completely used out of combat.
I actually see that one more useful on Kasane's side because Kasane has like some more ranged attacks, but like
Right.
Yuito's got to go in with his sword. So
I guess you teleport and then go in, but I don't know. Movement isn't really a fundamental. I've never felt like movement in combat was for me at least. And then the final one was like fire damage. So very simple. You do fire damage.
yeah, I
and
mean,
you can burn.
basic. Yeah, there was fire on Yuito's side, and there was electricity on Kasane's side.
Electricity
So just
stunning
elemental
enemies
damage.
Being helpful. Yeah, there's some elemental damage. So
And there was
yeah.
one other one on Yuito's side. What?
You clairvoyance. You can see invisible
Oh
enemies.
yeah, see invisible enemies, which is like
Whatever. Sure.
I mean, it's there. It's just not useful if there's not an invisible. Well, I think it made it. I think it had an additional effect where the perfect dodge was a little easier to do, and like you did more damage if you did a perfect dodge or something like that.
Something
But
like that. Yeah. But
yeah,
still.
it did. It didn't last very long, and
Mm-mm.
yeah, generally it was really only useful if the enemy was invisible. It didn't really do anything other than that.
Yeah. Which I'm hoping there are more opportunities out of combat where some of these powers are useful. Obviously, the demo didn't really show too much of that besides teleport. But we don't know. We really don't know. So jury's out on that. The world, the actual exploration I thought was okay. I mean it's a demo, so
Yeah.
take it or leave it. The two areas were at least pretty different.
Yeah, they were different.
So that could be a judgment of okay, these characters maybe they're going to share a few environments, but at least their starting point and certain interactions in those environments are going to be different. Like
Kasane's side had a lot more like wide open areas, whereas Yuito's was mostly just like streets and alleyways and stuff
which
like
is good
that.
for
So
him because he's close quarters. It makes more sense for him to be like that. Whereas with Kasane, like she's range, so she's able to utilize her range attacks in a big. It was nice. It was nice to see that that in this game and in this demo, two environments were separate. It was cool. It wasn't just like a shared. Music was good. Music was good.
yeah, it's
Nothing
fine.
else. The cutscenes, the cutscene dialogue things are like where they look more like comic booky in a way.
Yeah, the panels. Yeah, that was
More like a
interesting.
manga, I suppose, or a comic book. I didn't hate them. They were okay. Some of them like were still images, and others were actual motion. It was a little bit weird, like seeing the contrast between that. But I thought it was stylistically fine because it reminded me of a comic book. I thought it worked pretty well. So I thought it was a bonus. And the last thing I wanted to mention personally was the boss fight. I thought the boss fight it wasn't hit your buttons, which was nice, but it wasn't that complicated. Which for a first boss fight, I think is fine because it's like a tutorial fight to learn more about like certain bosses you need to use certain environmental you know things. You need to use certain things in the environment to help you in the boss fight. It was a good tutorial fight. It was very simple, but it wasn't too simple. Is what I was gonna say. And I think for a tutorial fight, it was fine. If future fights are like that, that's a problem because that's too simple.
Yeah, if all the bosses are that simple, then it's going to be
a problem. But for now, it worked. So that's my piece. I liked both the sides. Again, I already talked about the different powers. This game seems really fun. This is going to be a wonderful game. Definitely going to pre-order it. I'm thinking of also getting the digital deluxe version because I enjoyed it so much. I'm not like a JRPG super fan or anything like that. This is a JRPG with more of an emphasis on action than anything else.
Yeah, I think this one's going to be a little faster pace. I don't see it being as long as other JRPGs either.
Especially with the two character sides. If both character sides are like 30 to 40 hours.
If each side, if each side is like, man, I wouldn't even say 30. If each side is like 20 to 30, I think that's completely reasonable. Like,
Yeah, that's fine. I was gonna say I would also think up to 40 hours is reasonable, given the stories are different enough. Given they're different enough, I think it's
Yeah.
reasonable. Um, but yeah, like if it hits a sweet spot of like 30 hours for both character stories, that's awesome. I think that's perfect for someone like me. So just like based off of the demo, this game is really fun. And if you like action games, if you like, I'm just gonna say if you like JRPGs, we don't know anything about the story, but this could be a really
Yep. The combat's fun. We'll see how many more twists and things that are put into it as the game goes along, and we'll see if the combat would get stale at all. Like the more you play it, there was this pretty like extensive skill tree that was in there.
yep.
So hopefully that'll help diversify things, and you'll get access to new and different powers as you go along. The one thing I will say that I didn't like in the combat, it's not like a deal breaker or anything like that. The super mode that activates like brain hack or whatever the heck it was called. It was this like
Yeah,
meter that just like charged up, but you couldn't choose when you activated it. As soon as the meter charged up, it just activated, and then
yeah,
you used it and it ran out on its own. And
yeah.
it was like, okay,
You mentioned
I
this
wish I
when
could
I was
save
playing.
this for a boss fight or like a more difficult fight
I
where it
agree.
like activates when I'm fighting a couple of scrubs and then okay, it's done. Great.
Yeah, if there was like some ability to control that, that would be better. Obviously, since we're so close to the release,
That's not
not
going
going
to
to
change.
change. But
Yeah.
yeah, I agree with you 100%. That that should be activated. Um. Oh, so was there anything besides that that you just didn't like? Like you're like, I don't like this.
Mm, not anything that I specifically did not like. No, I wouldn't say that. I mean, I agree with you that I liked the powers much better on Kasane's side than on Yuito's side.
Mm-hmm.
Like on Yuito's side, I was in fire like 90% of the time, and I didn't
Pretty
really
much.
use the other ones for the most part. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
I agree with you.
the maybe this will be explained better, but like like the item, there were like a lot of items that I picked up that I just like didn't know what they were or what they did, but
Well, we
hopefully
did.
that's just because
We
it was a demo.
yeah, it's a demo. We didn't experiment, and like, the only thing I used was health healing item.
Yeah,
Um, I did change equipment a few times. Like I did see that I was picking up equipment, and I did change it.
yeah,
On a couple characters. Um, I actually have a complaint. I do have a complaint. I do have a complaint that I discovered on those side. If you want to swap equipment, here's the process to swap equipment. Unequip. Here, let's say there's A and B person, and then inventory is C. Unequip from A. Unequip from B. Go into inventory, then re-equip. It was like it was a little bit more tedious than I wanted it to be.
yeah. Instead of like, hey, I want to just swap this equipment between these two characters, you just like click to equip on another character, and then usually in cases of these games, it would give you a prompt like, hey, that's already equipped on another character. Are
Would
you
you
sure
like
you want to
to?
do this,
Yeah,
or would you like to swap the two? And you would say yes, and it would just swap
yeah.
the two.
That's a very minor complaint, but I did notice it, and I was like, oh, like it says in my inventory I
Yeah,
don't have any of this, but I clearly do. So
yeah, just equipped on another
I
character.
had to unequip, then re-equip the opposite. It was like
Yeah,
a little bit extra than
it's a
I
little,
thought it would be.
it's a little clunky.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. I know this is coming out on other systems, but for the Xbox side of it, you played on Xbox One, just to be very clear.
Yep, the demo's only available on Xbox
Yep,
still. We don't know if the demo will be available on anything else or when that will be, if
sure.
so.
Um, I don't know like what the difference in quality was, but the game for me looked really good. Like it felt really good. It moved well. There didn't seem to be any lag issues. The loading screens were they're like quick or non-existent for me. Um,
Yeah, I mean there was some loading for me. It wasn't anything particularly I didn't think the loading times were that bad. They seemed pretty normal for last gen. I
Okay.
didn't have any frame rate issues. So
Yeah, the game seems well made. I think I didn't experience any bugs in the demo, to my knowledge. So it seems well made, but we'll see on actual or like. So I said my piece. I think this is like if you're an action fan, like if you like action games, fast paced games, like Jared play. What do you think though? Would you recommend this the same way, based on the demo and what you know of the game?
yeah, I mean, I think I agree with you. As a JRPG fan, this is up my alley. Um, I can play either action or turn based. As far as RPGs, I don't really care. I like the combat so far in this game. Hopefully they can keep it varied throughout the game because I mean, I think the story is going to be there, and I hope it's interesting. But I have a feeling this game is going to be more focused on its combat than its story. Um, but we'll see where the story
Yeah,
goes. We didn't get
not
a
at
sense
all.
of it from the demo really at all.
There was so much terminology that I was just like, okay, I don't know what that.
Yeah,
Hopefully, it'll get cleared up at some point. Oh, there's this. Okay, they did some. They cleared up some things. They're like, okay, They did clear up the my JRPG like thing where it's like, oh, the 14-year-olds are the only ones that can save the world. Thank God. They did point out that they are required to use an anti-aging medicine or something. So
yeah.
they can't.
They
They're
all look like teenagers, but they're
because
not actually teenagers.
because if they don't, their psychokinesis will get out of control or it'll become unstable. Which, by the way, 100% the villain is going to be some psychokinesis out of control old dude.
Probably.
And by old dude, I mean like a 30-year-old.
Yeah.
So that's 100% going to be the. I just like I feel it in my bones that is what's going to occur because they've already set it up a little bit, or there's going to be like some kind of major. But yeah, I yeah I enjoyed it. It sounds like you enjoyed.
Yep, I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to the game. I'll definitely be playing it when it comes out. I probably won't play it on Xbox. I'll probably play it on PS4.
Yeah, sure.
Because I have a PS4 Pro, so that's just better
Yeah, yeah. It's
than my standard Xbox One.
yeah. No,
Um,
it makes sense.
but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. The demo was fun. I'm hoping I can see like the environments and the exploration getting a little samey and boring if they don't vary them enough. But again, we'll see. This was a demo. It was a very small slice. It was basically like one level on for each character, so it's really hard to say how the rest of the game is going to go.
Yeah, it was like basically 30 minutes per game, roughly.
Yeah, maybe an hour if you really took your time. But
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, like, good. You didn't have to. Like, they showed where items were on the map, so like
yeah,
you didn't really have to. You know, that's kind of an interesting thought actually. In like everything is very obvious. Like it's like here check your map right here. There's some green marker here's
yeah. Go get.
yeah.
The
I
thing.
mean, like if you're anything like Spoon here, you would have done that anyway. You would have gone in every corner possible anyway. But like,
Oh yeah, I was maxed out on the healing item, the
oh
light
yeah,
jelly or whatever. You could carry up to 10 of them. I was maxed out on
yeah,
those because yeah,
because yeah, you could just like it just shows you on the map though, which I can't decide if that's like a bad thing or not. It's just like okay, here they are. They're just like not focused on the exploration. It seems, but like the game seemed very linear when you played it. Like at least Yuito's side was
yeah,
extremely linear.
yeah. And actually, I'm seeing this game having like a mission structure, and we'll see if you get choices on like what order you do missions in. But I'm not seeing this being like an open world game where you explore and go to different areas.
Sorry, keep going.
Um, yeah, I'm seeing it being a mission structured base game where pretty it's very linear and you just kind of you do a mission and then you go back to base and then there's some cutscenes and then you go do the next mission and you get dropped back in the world
That's
and then you go back to base and
that's
I'm seeing
that's what I'm guessing.
we're talking about the Scarlet Nexus demo.
Yeah, I have a sense that's what's going to happen too, and I'm not opposed to it actually. I'm not opposed to it. I don't think it's a bad thing, but it was interesting. The Yuito side was really linear. Like, okay, you just go from A to B. Kasane's, there was a bit more like offbeat paths you could go to explore, but Yuito's just like, yeah, let's just I can't decide. I don't think it's a bad thing. I really don't. But if you're somebody that wants a bit more exploration in your game, you're not gonna. I don't think you'll like that as much because I don't think the game focuses on it at all. Considering they show you on the
No.
map everything you need to know. So
Yep.
yeah, if that's not something you're interested in, that could definitely be something that would reduce your game for sure. I could see that. But in this case, like, eh, it's not a huge deal for me at least. Not a huge.
Yeah, I mean, if the combat remains fun and interesting, then I don't think it'll be a big deal. I think it'll
Yeah.
be fine.
Yeah, I'm hoping there's more stuff that you can.
Not every game has to have open world and like exploration. It's not a requirement.
Exactly. It just depends. It depends on the game.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other thoughts on Scarlet Nexus? Otherwise, I want to touch on Mass Effect.
Yep.
Very briefly.
Sure.
Okay. So, Mass Effect 1, the Mass Effect Legendary Edition came out, I want to say 2 weeks ago, and I personally finished a Paragon playthrough of the game, and I I think this Mass Effect game, the combat is slightly better. Okay, it's slightly better. The actual gun mechanics are slightly better, and they fixed 2 boss fights. They updated 2 boss fights. That was it. If I was to put this game into like under the microscope and say, okay, now that this Legendary Edition version of Mass Effect 1 has come out with all the different changes, Mako tank, the Mako tank had some changes. I won't say that it maneuvers much better, but it's a slightly better maneuvering process because you can boost. The gun mechanics are a bit better. The textures are unbelievably good compared to the other to Mass Effect 1. And the boss fight that needed the most improvement got improved, which is the Matriarch Benezia fight. Matriarch Benezia fight in Mass Effect 1 original version was awful. That was a terrible fight because the room for it was horrible. I think somebody put it together in 5 minutes, and the main difference in this version was they put, instead of it just being only bridges, they put like big areas in between those bridges so that you could actually like go into an area, get behind cover, like navigate off a bridge at some point. It was but it's still Mass Effect 1. The story and the way it plays is still Mass Effect 1. And I would say that whatever review you gave Mass Effect 1 in your eyes, why don't you increase it by 0.5 to 1? And this is what this version. So if you gave it a 9, give it a 9.5 because the textures are really good right now. If you gave it an 8 for whatever reason you had, give it an 8.5 to a 9. This is a much better game than the previous version. In the areas that needed the most help, it's much. So that's what I want to say about Mass Effect 1. It's, if you like the game or if you haven't played the game, you should somehow go out of your way to play the. There is one game-breaking bug in the game that I want to talk about because I don't know if other people have found it. In the Xbox Series S version of the game, maybe it's both Xbox versions, if you try and junk a certain number of items in a row or a certain number of times in a row, your game completely crashes.
Hard crash.
Hard crashes. So I can replicate it. So it's even worse. I can replicate the bug. So I'm like, okay, so I can't junk a certain number of items or a certain number of times in a row at the same time, or I'll crash the game. So don't junk too many items at once. You're gonna break your game. Or, I don't know. It was the only game breaking bug I found so far. So be wary of that. Other than that, game's really good. I'm doing a Renegade version of it just for fun, while my Joy Cons get repaired. Which, by the way, I did actually get that set up, so I'm gonna have to send it in the mail tomorrow. And that's like my thing for until the Joy Cons get fixed. I don't know how long it'll take. How long do you think it'll take? Take like a week?
Uh, I don't remember what I think they said it could take up to like a month or something, but I remember it being a lot shorter than that. I remember
Okay.
taking a week or two, maybe.
Okay.
It wasn't that long compared to what they said you could expect.
All right.
Like,
Well, I expect 2 weeks to a month then of not having these Joy Cons, and I'll have to decide if I want to get new ones. If I decide I don't want to wait, I have no. The drift was so bad.
yeah,
Like it was horrible, and like it didn't show whenever I played Xenoblade near the end, but it was actually bad. It was eternally frustrating to be in a fight and just have Rex do this.
yep.
Like stop.
Oh yeah, because if you move in that game, it cancels your auto attack.
Yes,
So
it's like stop doing that. Oh my god, it was eternally frustrating. So, but yeah, Mass Effect was great. Mass Effect 1 was great. If you thought Mass Effect 1 was good, it's even better. So, if you have any interest in playing it again, I think it's great. It's a great one to play. So that's all I wanted to say on it. I didn't want to touch on it.
auto promises he will eventually finish Xenoblade.
Yeah, if the drift goes away, if I get them fixed and the drift goes away, like
Yep.
imagine fighting a boss fight in that game and
No, it
Rex is
sounds
just
terrible.
doing this.
Sounds
It was
terrible.
like,
I agree. I agree with you.
it's terrible. It was freaking annoying the last at least 2 to 3 times I played. Oh my god, it was horrible. And it didn't show, but it was horrible. Because I could just tell I was doing it really often. And it was just like, obviously it didn't have a major impact in getting through the fights, but there's only so many times I can keep doing that in like the end, like for example, if I boss, like very end game bosses, and be like, okay, well I just lost this fight because the controller drifted very slightly. Because I'm
Yep.
sure like any bit of mistake is gonna get punished. So that is like that is why those are going. They're going to get fixed because it's no longer enjoyable to deal with.
Yep.
It's
Makes sense
just
to me.
it's a burden. So anyway, okay. I have got nothing else for today, and I have class in 15 minutes. So, you want to close up, or do you got any other additional?
I
Final
will
thingies?
very briefly mention
Very briefly.
the World's End Club demo, which I played. Um, the game comes out on Friday, and this is the game from the makers of Danganronpa. It is on the Switch exclusively. It's actually a budget title. It's only $40 on the Switch eShop.
Oh wow.
It's 50. They're doing a deluxe edition if you want to do the physical, so it's 50 in that case. And yeah, I mean the art style is interesting. The gameplay, you kind of just got the first level of the game, and it was mostly like very linear. There were some very light puzzles, but it has the same storytelling style as like Danganronpa and the Zero Escape or the AI the Somnium Files. Like kind of a mysterious thing going on, trying to figure it out. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting. I'm not sure I'll get it right off the bat since I'm currently playing some other stuff, but I'm interested in it. The demo is up on the Switch eShop if you want to check it out. It is a relatively lengthy demo. It took me like, probably like an hour and a half to 2 hours to complete, actually. Um, but yeah, it's
You said the demo was 2 to 3 hours to complete.
like an hour and a half to two
Oh,
hours.
that's not that big.
So yeah, it's interesting. The art style takes some getting used to. I'm not sure how I feel about all the characters being like children in this really like kiddie art style. It's kind of weird, but it is a Switch exclusive, so I don't know, whatever. Um, and yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's interesting. I know, Try really likes the games from those creators, so he'll probably play it.
Mm.
It's on my radar.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. When's the release date of it again?
Friday,
This
May
Friday.
28th.
Okay.
Yeah, May 28th.
Okay. So demos out those. It's again free demo, pre-order demo.
Free demo.
Okay, free demo. Okay. Well, there you go. All right. Let's close up so I can run to class and be on.
Yep.
Okay, so let's close up just by saying please check out the YouTube. It is there's a lot of stuff going on there now. The Scarlet Nexus demos that we just talked about are there. It's my perspective, it's not Spoon's perspective, so you'll have to deal with my gameplay, which you know is probably less optimal than a game. And all the different Mass Effect Renegade stuff that I'm doing is going on YouTube. Just to put it in perspective, the Mass Effect Renegade run is more funny than anything else, because if you've ever seen any, like, if you think you're a jerk, Renegade Shepard is. There is no denying it. It is like everything you can say in the Renegade run is like it's just monstrous. And certain characters like Spoon, you know how we feel about Tali. You know how we feel about Tali. She's a wonderful character. And
Tali's
she's
great.
too nice. Renegade Shepard puts her down hard multiple times. It is bad. So it is just more funny than anything else to just listen to some of the comments that Renegade Shepard made to all the characters. He's the worst. So it's just funny. So be sure to check those out if you're interested in watching that. There are definitely some funny moments with certain character interactions. And yeah, I just appreciate if you went over there and checked out all of our various videos and liked them. And if you're not subscribed, to subscribe to our YouTube. There's a lot of stuff going on there in the next couple days from Mass Effect and possibly more. Final reminder, Spoon, the anime watch group will be Sunday, hopefully around 1 p.m. Pacific time, unless something changes. We're watching 2 episodes in a row of World Ends With You. And trying to think, besides the D&D stuff, again with the movie night, possibly Sunday or Monday. I'll post that at some point in the middle of my class break. And then finally, D&D on Friday. D&D fans, D&D folks, if you're interested in perhaps watching Spoon's character die, you should check it out, because he is currently a prisoner of a green hag, and his life's at stake. We'll see in this particular session if he can be saved, if the hag can be defeated, and I have other things planned for if the party interacts with them. Perhaps with some of the most powerful creatures in the monster manual being interacted with. We'll see on Friday. It should be really fun, and hopefully you all can stop by. And just a reminder, the previous session is only on Twitch right now. Spoon and I will talk about if we want to put it on YouTube and how we go about doing that. Spoon, that's all the stuff I have to say to close. Anything else you want to say before we close the stream?
I hope I don't die in D&D. I really don't want to make a new character after 2 sessions. That would be really stupid.
Yeah, that would suck. But it wouldn't be the worst. It would just kind of be annoying. But I think you'll be fine. I think you'll ultimately be fine. You're certainly not in good hands though at the moment. So if you're interested in anybody's interested in checking that out, it'll be fun. It's a fun group. I thought last time we had a lot of fun. So it's a really good experience, and anybody that likes D. So but Spoon, sorry, any other final thoughts besides the D&D?
Nope. That is it.
Okay.
Have a good night.
Yep. Thanks everybody. Much appreciated. And we'll see you guys Friday, hopefully.